Well, that's the issue. I'm glad you keep bringing up Brzezinski, but we should probably play that again next hour for the folks that haven't heard it. At a CFR meeting, I mean, he's one of the top living globalists. Kissinger's kind of floating off. This is the main foreign advisor, geopolitical analyst for Obama. He's one of the most respected New World Order ringwraiths. And they are, I mean, really respect what he has to say. And here he is basically saying what we say every Friday, Bob, that this is the first time that the whole world has woken up to the fact that politicians are puppets. There's a banking elite. And that's basically what Ron Paul said 2 days ago here. So this is a big deal to have one of the top enemy generals admit we're blowing the hell out of them.
I've been waiting for this for 50 years. And I'm just unhappy that Gary Allen and Alan Stang and Eustace Mullins aren't around to see it. And there's still Edward Griffith and myself and Anthony Hilder. But we worked towards this for a long, long time, and it's coming to fruition, and it just shows if you believe in something, don't ever compromise and don't ever give up.
Yeah, that's why we had Miss Oklahoma on, who was ahead in all the previous rounds, but wouldn't be against states' rights in Arizona, so they took it away from her. And she feels good about not being Miss USA and all the millions of dollars that come with that in endorsements because she told the truth. And you really have to honor that you know, there she was, and she said, you know, she gave the unpolitically correct answer.
And that's wonderful, and that's what America's all about. And that's what humanity's all about. And, you know, again, I refer to your previous guest, Mr. Hart. He had it all together. He understands. And he's trying to impart it to everybody, and I think that's wonderful.
Well, he also made the point about a love-hate relationship with Americans, and I have that as an American. I mean, I've studied a lot of other cultures, societies, been around the world not as much as you, Bob, and the American people are the most dumbed-down, decadent, slob-like creatures on average. But we're also, if you can actually get them educated, some of the most, you know, intelligent, hardworking, hard-charging, non-compromising, idealistic people. Well, that's why they put the fluoride in the water. That's why they started TV here. That's why we're under so much brainwashing, is because the system knows that. We're under the greatest assault.
Because we have the greatest potentiality. And Europe as well. And, you know, years ago I said they're going to take Europe and the United States down. You know, I wrote about this in 1967. I said the only way they can implement world government is to bring us to our knees so we'll be forced to accept it. And I even at that time talked about what we call today free trade, globalization, offshoring, and outsourcing. It was one of the ways that they could decimate American and European industry. And so they did it. Not because I said it, because I figured out what they were doing. But very few people did.
And now we know that's their Bible, and they admit it. And they also lied to the third world and said, global government's going to be good. We're going to rob the West, who's been exploiting you, when it was the same globalists that have been exploiting them, not the West. They've just been using us as pirate bases. And, oh, the Copenhagen Treaty, we're going to put big taxes on the rich people of the Europe and the U.S., England, Canada, Australia, and we're going to give the money to you. And then they got the treaty. It was right at double taxes on them in Latin America, Africa, and Asia what it is on us. It was designed to really lower them even further and then lower us down further. It's not, you know, the standard liberal, neo-colonial, neoliberal statement of, oh, we're going to raise the poor and lower the West so it's fair. It's everybody going down. Bob Chapman.
That's right. Destroy them all, make them accept us as their masters, and then we can implement anything they want. Well, they get discovered in the process. And I think one of the reasons why is that they should have moved years ago. They had a much better opportunity in the late 60s and during the 70s, and they didn't use it. I thought perhaps they might, after the housing and stock market fall in the late 1980s, they had the perfect opportunity to go one way or the other, and they went the wrong way again.
Well, they didn't have enough traitors in government at that time.
That's probably true, and I can hark back to that. But I think it was their greed more than anything else. They wanted to have more chips than the next CFR member. And, you know, among people who make lots of money, which I did at one time, it's not the money anymore. It doesn't mean anything. It's the game and who wins. And I think part of that enters into their psyche. A good example of that is Morris Greenberg, who was given AIG on a platter by the OSS, which he worked for during the Second World War. And it became a way station for the CIA, among other things. And there were other players involved I won't go into, like Nicholas Deek. But the point is that there are people who are in that group who play that game, and they can't help themselves.
And they have a complete disdain and disgust for anyone who's independent, because they're not just going to implode the states and the city economies and county economies to bring us under their control. This is all designed. The more things go bankrupt, the more unfunded mandates, the more government programs, the more environmental rules to shut down what jobs we've got, while China has zero and then only moves it there faster. It's not just that. They admit, and they always do this, they're going to use the giant hordes of dumbed-down people who have no jobs and no future to go vote to take the little bit of money the middle class has got. When the elite doesn't spend money with the public, it's the middle class that is the real economy, and the middle class is almost gone, and they're going to slit the throat of that. And it's just, you know, Bob, you talk like we've won. I think we're in the fight. I mean, why are you so confident now? I mean, what, you've looked at the breaks, you've looked at the different angles, and you don't see them pulling this off? Because I agree, they don't have a sure ace in the hole. They don't have a roll flush up their sleeve, a royal flush, but they can stage nuke attacks. They can start World War III with Iran. They can claim North Korea did something and start something. These people have got biological weapons they admit they have, where they fly over a city, spray you with a virus, and you're literally a retarded zombie the next day. I mean, and they're admitting they want to release it. Bill Gates does. And they're out in the open, just like, so, I mean, I'm not trying to scare folks. I just want them to realize that these people aren't, there's a reason they're so arrogant. I just don't want to be overconfident. I'm not saying you're being overconfident. Give me your take on that.
I just believe we've got them by the tail. They just never expected this outcome that's really happened in the last 5 to 10 years. And I don't think they thought we could do it. I don't think that we have the dynamics to do it. And even with all those evil weapons and things that they can do, they can't really protect themselves. If somebody wants to do away with somebody, it's easy. It is. It's very easy. You may get caught, you may get killed, but the person that you're going to do away with is going to be done away with. And that is a big hole in their defensive mechanism.
Well, that's what Nick Rock...
If they've got people who are perhaps 30 to 50% unemployment, there's going to be a lot of people out there who have nothing to live for, and they're going to go after those people. And they know that, but they somehow think there's an immunity there, and it's not there.
Well, let me expand on that. I want to come back and discuss this more with you, Bob, because you have hit the nail on the proverbial head there. That's what Nick Rockefeller told Aaron Russo, and that's what I've read in their own writings. They want the tracker chip, face scan, biometric control system so they can get away with robbing us, but that's not what history shows. The more they try to make it impossible to reach them, then people, almost at a spiritual level, will do whatever it takes to get to them. It's almost like by them trying to build this, they've shown their hand, and they're not invincible. You can kill anybody. So let's talk about that when we come back. I mean, you know, all this high-tech crap isn't going to protect them.